Hi everyone, I'm here with a very special guest today, Santa Claus from the North Pole Enterprises. Santa, thanks very much for joining me today.
Oh, nice. Nice for you to have me. Thank you.
So, quick question I had. So, is it Santa Claus or is it Nick Christmas, Father Christmas? How do you like to be called?
Oh, people call me all sorts. So, yeah. Look, let's dispense with the formalities. You don't need to call me Saint. Nick's fine. Santa Claus, or that fat fella that jumps down my chimney on Christmas. Anything you like, Chris. Anything you like.
So Nick, let's just start there. So obviously, it's a really busy time of year for North Pole Enterprises at the moment. You've got the run up to the festive season, and I imagine like volumes are up. What kind of themes are you seeing in the factory and really amongst your clients, I suppose?
Yeah, everybody wants everything now, Chris, don't they? Everything's like instant. Back in the day,
Mm,
you could get away with stuff, but now everything's like instantaneous. So every child thinks the
mm,
next day delivery is like a thing. And, I've got a sleigh, I've not got a teleporter.
mm,
And then, obviously, in terms of the quality of the gifts and the toys and stuff, everybody wants artisanal, organic, sustainably sourced stuff. I long for the days, to tell you the truth, when I could just go out, chop a tree down, and make a train without having to
mm,
replace it.
mm.
And then, obviously, everything's AI powered now. And there's teenagers that want gifts that just can't be found in the physical realm. So, virtual reality experiences,
Mm.
VR headsets. And last year, even me, I had a real problem trying to find a PS5. Makes you long for the days when you just got socks and board games, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and how do you keep up to date with the latest technology trends? Is there like a conferences you go to? What sort of you put money into research? And you just mentioned like a whole sort of wave of consumer electronics that have come through that. What's your main avenue to staying up to date?
It's very difficult to stay up to date when you've got a workshop full of elves, to tell you the
Mm,
truth. I try and look on blogs. I am on Twitter, or X as it's called now, but I keep my profile hidden because I don't want a load of people to contact me. And
yeah.
then, yeah, just overall, just having a look at things like Chat GPT and things like that. I actually developed my own application. It was called Naughty GPT. It was to analyze all of the conversations that were going on online, and yeah, give me a ranking on the naughty and nice list, but
Yeah.
unfortunately didn't pass GDPR requirements, and therefore I've had to sell the domain name to an OnlyFans rival.
Okay. It seems like there's unfortunate for your investment there. And I suppose, how do you really understand between what people ask for and what they think they want versus what they actually want? Because we all know that sometimes we ask for presents and we don't necessarily want them versus what we actually really desire. There's a little bit of psychology that kind of goes on there. I mean, are you able to see that with your new sort of AI or analysis to understand what people actually really want versus what they say they want?
I think nowadays people want me to be a right mind reader. It was much simpler back in the day. By getting gifts, every child was just happy to just get something at Christmas. I think nowadays, with just everybody becoming just more the commercialization of everything,
Mm,
everybody expects the world. But yeah, it has become a lot harder. And even just looking at stuff online, what people say they want and what people actually want is completely different, isn't it? Trying to understand the psychologies and stuff like that, yeah, it's always a challenge, and not least because I'm so busy,
yeah.
like just running around from here, there, and everywhere. Like, I know last Christmas, one of my reindeers got an inner ear infection, and I was supposed to be going to Barbados, and I ended up in Blackpool. With all of that and trying to understand the ever changing demands, yeah, it's just an absolute nightmare.
And you talk about volume there and being busy. It does seem like it's a very sort of seasonal kind of business, very busy over the end of the year. How do you manage from a capacity point of view? Are you producing sort of volume throughout the whole of the year and then spike towards the end of the year, or do you even have things like furlough schemes for the elves?
Have you ever tried working with elves, Chris?
No, I haven't. No.
They're particularly good at some things, but they're particularly bad at other things. And one is organising the time.
Yeah.
So what we try and do is, over the course of the year, we try and build toys and things like that just to satisfy the demand, obviously, as we get into peak. The issue is that using the kind of traditional methods that we've got around workforce planning and things, typically, like every single elf that I've got on my workshop right now tries to book off Christmas.
Mm,
Like, I don't even know what they're doing.
mm.
They know that we're working, but they're not particularly logical. Yeah, we're starting to use like some more kind of futuristic kind of methods now. We're using AI to optimize demand throughout the year and trying to ease it off because elves are very very energetic, but they do get tired. And we have been using kind of the AI to look at how we optimize sleigh routes over the course of Christmas Day.
Mm.
Although I still find it very creepy that you can go online and you can watch me flying all over the world. It's a bit stalkerish, isn't it?
Yeah, you find that a bit of an invasion of privacy, or?
I don't get much privacy as it is. I live in a house with my wife and 1,200 elves, and they're not known to be able to socially distance.
Well, so just on that point, how do you manage that whole sort of work-life balance? You're out a lot, especially around this time of year. You're out a lot. You're never at home. There's a certain amount of like stress in terms of getting the stuff done and delivered. How do you manage that?
Work-life balance? Are you
Yeah,
joking? There's absolutely no work-life balance in my line of work,
yeah.
to tell you the truth.
It's Christmas all the way, is it?
Yeah, just my entire life is Christmas. I'm like one of those sad people on Channel 5, that the person who has Christmas 365 days a year. That's my life. So, yeah, you think you can just pop down chimneys one night a year and take the rest off like that? It's not a chance. There's toy production, there's reindeer training, sleigh maintenance, not to mention the endless list of dietary requirements and things like that.
Yeah.
And last year, post-COVID, I'd stayed in quite a bit. I'd had a bit more around my midriff. And when we did the chimney training, I was struggling to get down every single chimney. It was an absolute nightmare. So having to cut weight for Christmas was like trying to be a UFC fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
well,
was.
we all have to hit the gym a little bit, don't we? Usually for the rest of it's in the run up after Christmas rather than before Christmas.
Yeah, most of the thing that I do after Christmas is I drink whiskey and put my feet up for at least a couple of days before it all starts again. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm around the golf with the Easter Bunny.
yeah, no doubt. So you mentioned there a little bit about the pandemic, and obviously we've been through the pandemic, and it feels like a distant memory now, doesn't it, to a certain extent? But how did you manage? A lot of us were remote working. Were you guys remote working, and have you all gone back in the office now? Have you mandated the elves now back in the office?
It's quite interesting around that type of thing. Look, we never left the office. We were always in the office. I think the fortunate thing is me being a higher entity and the elves are immune, being a fictional being, they're immune to human viruses. So I think that was quite lucky. We did try and introduce social distancing into the workshops. It was absolutely possible. Like, elves are very social creatures and they were just all over each other. They were always chatting and being social and stuff. To be honest with you, yeah, it's nice for a time, and I know Christmas is nice, but spending 365 days of your life with elves jumping all over you,
Mm.
it can be quite wearing. But
Yeah.
they are very cheap labour.
Very good. I mean, it seems like things are getting back to normal a little bit. You talked a little bit about the amount of travel that you do over the festive period. There's so much focus on ESG, certainly, and there's some environmental elements. How do you justify, to ask a bit of a pointed question, going around the world in a single day just under ESG, and how does it affect your ESG reporting?
That's the big thing that's hanging over me at the moment. Look, reindeers are very ecologically friendly. They run on like a low methane diet now, less beans, more carrots. The sleigh is powered by Christmas spirit, not fossil fuels, so it's zero emissions. So I am trying to do my bit as much as I can.
Fantastic. And I suppose just going back to feedback, what do you think the scope is for using AI to give feedback to your elves? I mean, are you starting to investigate some of that?
Yeah, we've tried to take feedback like over the years. I think the challenge is that the elves are relatively sensitive creatures, and they feel as though in Lapland, doing a bit within the workshop, that all of the quality of work is particularly great. But you've seen the Santa Claus movie About Myself. You saw what Dudley Moore did with a little bit of Christmas spirit and a little bit of machinery. Like, you can all mess up. Yeah, what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide a bit of feedback whilst also not having another Dudley Moore situation.
Okay. And so thanks very much. What do you think is going to happen in the next sort of 5 years? If you look at the future of Christmas, you look at the future of this sort of the festive season, you look at the future of North Pole Inc. Where do you think we're going? What are the trends?
I don't know. If I could predict everything, then I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be on a beach like as a lottery winner rather than being like a jumped up Deliveroo driver, really. But I'll give it a go. I expect that kids' wish lists will be even more complicated with more demands. Things like personal robots and trips to Mars and pet unicorns and all this type of nonsense. Gonna have to get Mrs. Close to enroll in some advanced engineering and genetics courses, I
Yeah.
think. From a technology perspective, look, I've used rain days for as long as I can remember, but I think eventually it'll just be more efficient for me to replace my sleigh and my rain days with a drone fleet. Get a few drones, stick a red nose on the front, get my face on the back, and get them dropping the stuff down the chimneys. I think that's probably the way it'll go. And then, look, I think the final thing is I just like to see a little bit more kindness and understanding in the world. There's been a lot of fighting around now, and I don't personally have that many sacks of coals. More milk and cookies left out, less fighting, and maybe a few carrots for the rain day.
Yeah. So thanks very much. I really appreciate making the time. So I know it's a super, super busy time for you. Very much echo your sentiments there at the end of the call. And I wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Chris, and to everybody.